India isn't just a country, it's a constitutional idea. But have you ever really thought about how India's name was officially decided, or how our states can be formed, completely changed, or even renamed? And maybe most importantly, who was actually considered an Indian citizen when our nation was born? Well, the answers to all of these massive questions are packed into just the first 11 articles of our Constitution.
So, let's get right into it. Think of these 11 articles as the foundational blueprint of our nation. It's brilliant, really. First, they draw the map, the physical country, and then they define the people who belong inside that map. We're going to break down exactly how they did it, step by step. Here's our game plan. First, we'll explore the core constitutional idea of India. Then we'll jump into part 1, which is all about the union and its territory, basically drawing the map. After that, it's on to part 2, citizenship, to figure out who we are as a people. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with a quick revision to get you prepped for any exams.
All right, let's kick things off with part 1, Articles 1 through 4. This is where the Constitution literally defines the physical shape of India, its borders, its states, and the very nature of its structure.
Article 1 gets straight to the point. It gives us our 2 official names, India and Bharat. Then it says our territory is made of 3 things: the states, the union territories, and any land we might acquire in the future. Now that phrase, Union of States, was chosen very, very carefully. It's a tribute to the massive effort of leaders like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who brought hundreds of princely states together into one single, unbreakable nation.
Okay, pay close attention because this is a classic exam trap. The Constitution calls India a union of states, not a federation of states like the US. So what's the big deal? Well, a federation is like a club that states agree to join, but our union is different. The states didn't come together to form the country. The country exists as one whole, and it's just divided into states to make it easier to govern. So here's the key takeaway. India is an indestructible union of destructible states. This means Parliament can change state boundaries, but no state has the right to leave.
Moving on to Article 2. This one's pretty simple. It gives Parliament the power to bring new states into the Indian Union. But the key here is that it's for territories that are not already a part of India. Think of it as the constitutional welcome mat for new members joining the family from the outside.
Now, if Article 2 is about adding new areas, Article 3 is about redesigning the internal map of India. And let me tell you, this is an incredibly powerful tool. It gives Parliament the final say to create a new state from an old one, merge states, change their borders, or even just change their name, like when Uttaranchal became Uttarakhand back in 2007. Parliament is basically the chief architect of India's internal map.
So how does this happen? It's a 3-step process, and you'll definitely see questions on this. First, a bill to change a state can't even be introduced without the president's permission. Second, the president sends that bill to the state to get its opinion. But, and this is the absolute most important part for your exams, Parliament does not have to listen to the state's opinion. The state can agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. The final decision belongs to Parliament, period.
And this just shows you how flexible our Constitution is meant to be. Article 4 makes it crystal clear that changing India's map under Articles 2 or 3 is not a constitutional amendment. It can be passed with just a simple majority, like any regular law. So the main thing to remember from Part 1 is this: Parliament has the ultimate power to draw and redraw the map of India.
All right, so we've drawn the map of the house. Now we have to figure out who gets to live inside. That brings us to Part 2 of the Constitution, Articles 5 to 11, which is all about citizenship.
To really get these articles, you have to imagine what was happening in 1947. These rules weren't written in some peaceful library. They were created in the middle of the firestorm of partition. Millions of people were on the move, families were being split apart, and borders were being drawn through their homes. The framers of our Constitution had the unbelievably difficult job of defining who an Indian was, right in the middle of all that chaos.
So these first 3 articles dealt with the situation right at the start, in 1950. Article 5 was for people already living in India. If you had your home here and met a few basic conditions, you were a citizen. Article 6 was for people migrating from Pakistan to India. And Article 7 handled the really complicated cases of people who went to Pakistan first, but then came back to India with a special permit.
Article 8 looked beyond our borders. It made a way for people of Indian origin living in other countries to become citizens, as long as they registered at an Indian embassy or consulate. This was so important for connecting with the huge Indian diaspora all over the world.
Now, Article 9 lays down a very clear, very strict rule. If you choose to become a citizen of another country, you automatically lose your Indian citizenship.
The bottom line here, and a common exam question, is that India does not allow dual citizenship. You have to choose.
Article 10 gives us a sense of security. It basically says once you're a citizen, you stay a citizen. But there's a huge catch. It says your citizenship is subject to the provisions of any law made by Parliament. So while your status is stable, Parliament can still make laws that affect it.
And that leads us perfectly to Article 11, the one that looks to the future. The framers, led by brilliant minds like Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, knew they couldn't possibly predict every situation that would ever come up. So they gave the complete power to make future laws about citizenship to Parliament. This very article is the reason we have the Citizenship Act of 1955 and all the changes that have been made since.
Phew, okay. We have covered a ton of ground, from the map of India to the people of India. Let's do a super quick revision to make sure these core ideas are locked in your brain.
Just remember it like this. Part 1, Articles 1 to 4, is all about the map. It answers the question, where is India? And it gives Parliament the power to change that map. Part 2, Articles 5 to 11, is all about the people. It answers the question, who is an Indian? It set the rules at the beginning and gave Parliament the power to make new rules for the future. First the map, then the people. Simple.
So, the foundation is set, the stage is built, and we know who the actors are. This leads us to the biggest, most important question of all. What rights do these citizens actually have? What are the fundamental promises that the Republic of India makes to its people? Well, that's exactly where we're going next. Keep learning, because every single concept you master today builds a stronger,
तो
wiser
मेरे
you.
दोस्तों, अगर ये जानकारी अच्छी लगी हो तो बस 1 सेकंड निकालकर वीडियो को लाइक, शेयर और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब जरूर करें।
क्योंकि आपकी एक छोटी सी सपोर्ट से ही ऐसे जागरूकता वाले वीडियोस आगे बढ़ते हैं।
और हाँ, कमेंट में जरूर बताएं कि अगला वीडियो किस टॉपिक पर चाहिए।
धन्यवाद। मिलते हैं फिर से अगले वीडियो में एक नई जानकारी के साथ।